You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of the imagination. There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition. It lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. It is the area we call Cincinnati. Outcast Haven Podcast starts now.
Dude, no shit. I was like, okay. So when we were talking, so I tried to piece together like an interesting way to tell my story about the bullshit that was this calling trip. And I referenced Twilight Zone in that because that's what it felt like. That's how I felt like on my way home. I was like, this is the goddamn Twilight Zone. So the fact that you use that unprompted, I feel like that's just that's my affirmation. That's my
with everything that was told to me, because I didn't make this trip, but everything that just came across from you guys, and then Tuesday you're still not home. I'm like thinking today, I'm like, what is the best thing that we can open this with? I'm like, yeah, he traveled through the Twilight Zone. Absolutely.
Yeah. It was
that's what happened.
It still like blows my mind what like just all of it. Dude, it was like days. It was days and days of traveling. I was like, the fuck is happening? God damn. Okay, so we
Dave,
both.
Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start?
I want Blake to start. Like, I need to finish my pick. But Blake, you tell your story because you also had issues traveling. Cincinnati is all right. I was in the Army and I was stationed in Oklahoma, and I love the Team Covenant guys. Like, I'm not going to talk shit about their state, but like Lawton is the asshole of the United States. I'll never be convinced otherwise. Florida's like a taint, like it's just like everyone's got their spots. Mm-hmm. But like Lawton, Oklahoma was just, I had some bad experiences there too. But dude, Cincinnati was like, hold my fucking beer. So like,
yeah. So this is we could actually we'll take the time. We could give you a little timestamp too. So anybody who doesn't care about the Cincinnati travel, we'll give you like the timestamp so you can jump past it. I think we could probably do that.
Yeah, I'll throw it up right. Which way am I going? There. Okay.
You know what? But if you skip that, I mean, do you even have a life that you're not going to listen to this interesting story? So don't be that person.
Yeah, it's worth it. You don't want to skip it. This is definitely worth a listen. And if you're going to skip it, you definitely want to come back and listen to it because it was a disaster. The fact that what I will tell you I went through pales in comparison to what Dane and the other guys went through should very much concern you about ever traveling to Cincinnati. So my experience was I flew because I didn't need to go on Friday. I'd gone to Vegas. So I was like, I'm just going to go play the main event. So I flew out on Friday. I got to the airport midday. I already had a layover that was like basically as long as my flight. Then I got to Midway and it was like, yeah, now it's longer. So I was at Midway for like 5-6 hours in Chicago when I flew an hour from Minneapolis to Chicago and then 45 minutes from Chicago to Cincinnati. So I spent 3 times as long at the airport as I did in the air. That was awful. The issue was when I got to Cincinnati, I found out an interesting fact about Cincinnati. Did you guys know Uber drivers don't drive to the airport apparently after like 8 p.m. on a Friday night? Because there was not an Uber driver to be found. I walked to the area where you go to the pickup for the ride shares, and there were 30 people all doing the same thing as me, staring at their phones, watching the little bar say connecting to driver, and then it kicks back and goes, a driver did not accept your ride. Try again soon. And then I would click on it and I'd say, show me the rides. And it'd be like $95. And I'm like, I'm not paying $95 to drive 8 minutes. It's just not happening. So I was like, I'll wait a minute. It'd be 30. I'd click on it. Nothing. At one point, I was like, I'll pay $50 to get a luxury car here because it's almost 1 a.m. I'm so tired and I just want to leave this airport. And eventually I gave up. I messaged our good friend Adam. Shout out to Adam. He's a local. He rescued me, as Olive Oil would say, my hero. He picked me up from the airport at like after 1 a.m. In his rental car. And then we dropped off our buddy Patrick and we were like driving to the hotel. He actually was like, you can stay with me. There's an extra bed. Just crash at my place so we don't have to drive you back. So I go to crash with Adam. He's like, I'm hungry. Let's stop and eat. So I was like, cool. I'm going to buy you McDonald's or wherever you want to eat that's got a drive-through because you saved me. We went to McDonald's. We sat in the drive-through for 45 minutes from the time we ordered to the time we got to the window. And the lady looked at us and said, we don't take cards. It's cash only. Now, I don't know what kind of Twilight Zone world Cincinnati is, but apparently they got the memo wrong. But the rest of us are moving to card only and no cash because they were doing cash only. So we laughed at her, and Adam actually laughed and tried to hand her the card. And she goes, no, I'm serious. We tell you at the window. And we're like, you absolutely did not tell us at the window it was cash only, or I would not have waited 45 minutes for chicken nuggets and a couple of cheeseburgers. There's no way. So we decided to drive off. We were like, there's a White Castle across the street. And then we spent an hour in the White Castle line before we finally got our food. At one point, we were convinced we were going to die because the car behind us, people just got out of it. Like 3 people got out. And I was like, this is where it ends. I'm going to die in a White Castle drive-through line at 3 a.m. in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is it. Like, this is how my life ends. And I was convinced that was it. And then they just got out. They stretched, threw some stuff away. And at one point, a guy from that car yelled, oh my God, what is happening? And we just rolled our window down and said, same guy, same. And we got our food, went back to the hotel, and I went to bed at about 4 a.m. and had to wake up at 7 to go to the calling. So that was how I got to Cincinnati. It was just wonderful, an experience of a lifetime. So if you live in Cincinnati, you guys should have let us know before we came that it was cash only, because apparently you're the only place in the entire United States that doesn't take cards at your McDonald's.
I didn't meet a single person at the calling that was from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I don't.
Which
think
is a smart life decision.
It's just an barren hellscape.
I'll be honest, not the dirtiest city I've been to. I'll give them credit there, but like
somehow the worst, right?
Absolutely. Like, without a doubt.
How do you go to a city and think this is not the dirtiest or the grossest city I've ever been to, but I definitely hate it the most?
Yeah, like there's some pent up rage there for sure. I'll get a therapist. So we'll jump right into mine. Jason, thank you for your patience. Looks like you're enjoying your drink. So
I'm gonna keep chugging this.
Chug.
It's amazing how you can talk while drinking.
It's a skill. It's a learned skill.
All right, hold on. I gotta sip mine.
You know what?
Right.
While you're sipping that, I just want to say, after hearing all this, I've never been so happy to not being able to find a flight Thursday night, Friday morning to fly out there. It's like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. Like if Florida was not nationals and it was just a calling, I would not be going. I am so not wanting to travel at all, but it's nationals and I'm going to go and I'm going to play and it's going to be a blast because it can't be worse than Cincinnati. It's me knocking on my desk. So Chelsea and I, my wife, we're driving and there's a group of Minnesota guys that leave before us and they're about an hour ahead of us and we're cruising. It's a 10 and a half hour drive road trip. And me and Chelsea take the minivan because we plan on coming back late Sunday. So we were like, all right, we'll take turns like sleeping in the back and able to just like drive straight through. It'll be smooth, efficient. We'll be good. So we're driving. All of a sudden, Robert, one of the guys that left ahead of us, who's another buddy on the Outcasts here that played like DBS and stuff with us, he messages our group chat saying, we just broke down an hour and a half outside Cincinnati. And I look at my map and it says that we're 2 hours outside Cincinnati. And I was like, hey, did you break down on 74 by chance? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. I'm 20 minutes out. Like, let us know if you need help. because I'm driving right past you and we've got an empty minivan. So we're set up to like help you out if you need it. We get there and he's like, yeah, that's great. Actually, we'll totally take you up on a ride. The engine was like leaking oil and stuff like that. And coming to find out the engine had actually blown up and 2 holes had been blown out the bottom of the engine. So they get towed.
Is this the inner triangle of Cincinnati? Have you touched the outer banks of it
No.
by that point?
No, we're still probably an hour and a half outside the city when I meet up with them.
So it leaks that far out is what you're saying.
The cursed energy is so vast in Cincinnati.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no,
okay.
it's just
I'm just trying to get a grasp.
The concept of a Cincinnati trip is in and of itself cursed. So we pick them up and we're driving. And Jimmy's making jokes because it was Jimmy, Bates, and Robert, the 3 guys that, we were driving. And Jimmy's making jokes about how, like, he's cursed. And, like, every road trip something happens. And, like, he had to go to the ER on a previous road trip. And I'm just thinking, like, yeah, man, that sucks, dude. And we get into the city limits. And my van starts chugging, like it's misfiring, like something's going on with the engine, starts shaking whenever I accelerate. And it's like if I'm accelerating over 2,500 RPMs, it's smooth. But if it's like that 12 to 2,300 range, it's going like, and I'm just like, God damn it. So we limp to the hotel. We get them dropped off. This is like 1 a.m., mind you. So we get them dropped off at their Airbnb. Chelsea and I get to the hotel, and I'm like, okay. It's super late. I want to like get up tomorrow and have like a good Friday and just do like some sealed and have a good time or whatever. So I go out and I start up the van and like it's fine. It's running. And I'm like, okay, maybe it was just like the load or something like that. Like it's not a big deal. But before we leave, I'll go to AutoZone and do like the scanner and all that. So we have a good weekend. We play. Sunday comes around, and my goal, like after, because we ended up, I think Blake and I both went 4-3. And we will talk about the actual calling. We promise. We'll timestamp that again right there. But we go and play, and I go 4-3. So I drop as soon as I hit that 3 because only X2 makes day 2, so or makes the top cut. So I'm like, I don't want to play ProQuest. It's 8:30. I got to figure out this van thing. I'm still a little thrown off from like the weird sleep schedule I've had. So I just get up and I go straight to AutoZone and I scan my computer in my van and find out that like the coolant's low, possible weight load issue, and possible like cylinder misfiring, which I wasn't sure exactly because it felt like that, but I assumed it was like maybe a bad spark plug. But the drive to AutoZone, I was fine. There were no issues. Like it wasn't misfiring. It was driving fine. So I was like, at that point, I'm thinking it was like the weight load, but a coolant level error came up. So I went and checked my coolant level, and my engine hadn't been reading as overheating or anything, but my coolant level was low. So I topped that off, and I was thinking at that point that I had a bad temp sensor. So like it wasn't telling me my engine was overheating while it was overheating, and that's what was causing the issues. So I put the coolant in, drove it. It was fine, no issues. Picked everybody, went and played like a couple more rounds on Sunday because I got back to the convention center and it was good. We leave. We're driving, it's all good, and we get about 2 hours outside Cincinnati on the way home Sunday afternoon. And not breakdown, but same issue arises around Lafayette, which is about 2 hours outside Cincinnati, 2.5. So we stop, and I'm like, maybe it's the weight thing, right? Because it is, it's me and 3 other guys, all like the same size, like bigger dudes, right? And I'm like, so
one of you has got to go.
I was like, I mean, I don't know how to say this, but like, it's my van, so like it's gotta support my weight, but like you guys, I don't know. No, so we stop and we stop at the hotel, and I drop them off, and I'm like, I am just going to let the van cool a little bit, and then I'm gonna go do a lap like up and down the freeway quick and just see how it runs, like see if it was like a weight thing. And I come back, it was still having the same issues. It was still misfiring. So I was like, cool, we're gonna stay the night, and I'm gonna figure this out tomorrow, because at this point it's like 6 or 7 p.m. No auto body shops are open on Sunday anyways. So I set an appointment for an auto body shop by the hotel the next morning. We stay. This is the first night staying at a hotel on the way home. So I get up the next morning. Chelsea needs to get back because our boys their dad is going to get them on the bus because they were with their dad that weekend. And he's going to get them on the bus for us, which was super helpful. But Chelsea still needed, like, the bus won't drop them off, even though Sheldon's 10 and Marshall's 8. They won't drop them off unless there's a parent there because my youngest has special needs. He's autistic, so he is, like, dropped off. And we arrange my sister to be here, but we wake up and I basically limp the van to a rental place so that Chelsea can get a car rental and just drive home. Because if she leaves at 8 a.m., she'll get there like a half hour before the bus drops the boys off. So that's our goal. We're like, that's our focus. We're doing this. So Chelsea leaves. I drop her off. I get back. I go straight to the auto place. And I tell them what's going on. I tell them I think it's misfiring. It feels like that. It's whenever I'm accelerating, even to maintain speed, not necessarily to build speed. Like on the freeway, I can't just keep it running. And they're like, okay, sounds good. Like we'll check the coil packs or the ignition coils when we're pulling the spark plugs because it might be a spark plug thing too. And I told them, yeah, whatever. I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but spark plugs go up more gradually. They don't like just all at once fucking fail. So, but anyway, so they check it out. They replace the spark plugs. Spark plugs were bad. Take the car, runs great. So I'm like, all right, sweet. It's running. We're fixed. We're out of this nightmare. Everyone load up. We're going. It's at this point like 1 p.m. on Monday when they give me the go ahead and the green light. So I pick everybody up from the hotel and we on our way home. We're flying free and clear at this point. About 2 hours north of Lafayette, fucking same thing starts happening again. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, guys, because the guys that I thought that I was saving and being the good guy for are fucking struggling through this with me. I'm like, I am not helping you at this point. Like, you would have been way better off just getting a rental car and driving yourselves home. But thank God they were there because every night that we stayed in a hotel, we got to jam more games and it was fun. But yeah, it was just, I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. It was funny because we were all apologizing to everybody. Like Jimmy's car broke down. And they're apologizing to me for like just being a hindrance. And I'm apologizing to them for not being the help that I offered. Like it was just a fucking nightmare. So we end up stopping in Merrillville, Indiana, which is about 15 minutes shy of Gary, Indiana. So I'm like, thank you, vehicle, for putzing out here.
To visit.
I know, it was fantastic. On the trip down, Chelsea didn't know where we were and like pulled off for gas because I was like, I gotta pee. Like, and I'm sleeping in the back. Like, I go to the bathroom. Can we swing off? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'll just take the next exit. And it was Gary, Indiana. And I was like, let's get back on the freeway and roll this shit down to the next. It was kind of funny actually. But no, so we stop in Merrillville and I go to an Amco. Amco is the first place that I went that told me it was just the spark plugs. Went to an Amco because they said they've got a 12,000 mile, 12 month, whatever, if what they didn't fix or there were continuing issues. So I went there and I called ahead, was like, hey, we're 10 minutes out. My car is doing the same thing. We're going to show up. Can you help us? Because we know it's 4 p.m. and you're about to send all your technicians home, but please don't because we just want to get home. And they're like, yeah, we're a transmission only shop. So I was like, can you recommend any shops? And like, dude, this whole experience was such like a test of maintaining composure for me. But I was like, thank God I've dealt with some real just fucking idiots in my life through like, and just whatever. My military experience was not great, but like, thank God for that because I was able to be like, can you please direct me towards a shop that's local that you would go to if your car was breaking down? Because I'd really just love to get helped here at this point. I'm on day 3 of a 2-day or day 4 of a 2-day trip. Like, so we get in and he recommends that I go to this Firestone shop there. He knows a guy and they are super helpful and super nice, but they can't get me in. They take the vehicle at Monday night, but they can't start like the process. Their technicians are already leaving or they've already got themselves booked through the day. So we stay another night. So we're staying in Merrillville now, 2 hours closer. So it's now 7 hours from home, but not quite home. And we get set up at the hotel, which is not a great hotel. And yeah, like we just end up staying another night. We jam games for like 8 hours, which was awesome. Lexi with no bow. I'm telling you, that's the next spice. But we play games. I go over the next morning, and they tell me that they are having the damnedest time taking the engine apart. Like there was bolts that are stripped, and I'm like, well, the other guys didn't mention any of this shit. What's going on? So I don't know if they're bullshitting because their guys messing stuff up, or if the previous place fucked stuff up when they were putting it back together, or what. I'm just like, I don't care. You need to tell me what's wrong and just tell me if I'm going home today or if I need to get another hotel, because you're telling me that you're not going to get it done today, but then telling me that, like, well, it's possible. So it's like, you need to let me know whether or not I'm staying here another night. If these guys are getting a rental car because they can't take 3 days off work, 4 days off work. So I was like, all right, just let me know. I'm going to call it 3. You tell me if I'm staying another night or not. I did. And they said that it was good at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. And I was like, I don't really believe you, but I'm going to come over and start to drive away. And hopefully no one stops me. So I get there, get in the van, start heading north, and I make it. Man, I get home, but this is the kicker. All of this whole weekend, we've been doing a job for my dad. Me and Chelsea have been, or Chelsea primarily. And he works at a print shop, and we have these cards, and it's like high quality booklets that they do for like apartment complexes in New York, where they're like $200 books that they hand out to like these rich people that look at it and they're like, "Ooh, look at this balcony!" Like it's like super bougie stuff. And we're putting them together. We're assembling them for my dad's print shop. That's like a job that we've got on the side. And Chelsea brings them because she wants to like put a bunch of these things together when we're in Cincinnati, and she's just chilling when I'm out playing games. And in this chaos, she didn't grab the box that goes back to my dad this week because it was, he was supposed to send them all out on Tuesday. So they're in the van still. And I get a call Tuesday night saying, "Hey, I need this stuff. Like, if you're not going to be home, it needs to get FedExed to me because like the client in New York wants it." So I'm driving up. The guys take a rental car ahead of me because they don't know if I'm staying another night on Tuesday. So they take a rental car, and I give them the boxes. I'm like, this just needs to get to Chelsea and my dad. Like, just take it up to the cities and they'll figure it out from there. Like, I will let everybody know if I make it out of here tonight or if I'm coming tomorrow. And they get up there, and Robert hands them off to Chelsea, and it's all great. And I get a panicked call at like 11 and 10:30, and Chelsea's like, "Hey, was there another box?" And I'm like, at this point I'm dead. Like, I'm dead inside. Like, I've been told so many times that I'm not going home. I've been told that I need to like stay. I found out that things are wrong that weren't wrong, and I get this call, and I'm just like, I'll figure it out. Cool, I'll call him. And like, I just call Robert, and I'm like, "Hey, was there another box that like Chelsea didn't get?" Yep, it's in the rental car that they took that's down in like the South Metro, so ends up adding like another hour and a half to my trip at like 12:30 in the morning because like I needed to get the box to my dad. So I was like, I drove, and I had to go down and meet Chris Bates at like, it was like 1. I was like, "Dude, thank you for staying up. Grab the box, get home at like 3. And that was the Odyssey. That was a Cincinnati trip. I got home 3 a.m. Wednesday morning on a fucking trip that I should have been home Sunday night, and it was the biggest bullshit to go 4-3 and not even play the Pro Quest. And now I'm drinking.
Well, I don't know what you want me to do to follow that up. I mean, I just, sat at home all weekend and did nothing. I mean,
thank you all for your patience.
I want to say,
we will now talk about actual games.
You left out the best part.
Oh God, what? There's so many things that I left out just to like try to keep it succinct, and it was still a 15-minute story.
The line you used about the road trip in our chat.
What did I say?
You said it was the worst road trip you've ever been on, and you were in what, Afghanistan?
It was the worst
Kuwait?
trip. It was the worst trip I've ever taken, and I've gone to the fucking Middle East. Yeah,
Correct.
it was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least like that shit, like you're expecting, right? Like, yeah, he's got to be ready for stuff to get thrown at you sideways. But dude, this trip, it was like constantly like, I thought I was good, then I wasn't. Then I thought I was good, then I wasn't. Then I thought I was good, then I wasn't. And it's like, you can only do that to a man so many times before they just start to believe that nothing will ever be good again. Yeah. I was like, dude, I'm so fucking. It was Tuesday night, and they told me that it might not be done, and I might need to get another night of a hotel. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I've never, and I realized too, like, you see those guys, homeless guys that are like, need gas to get back to Texas or whatever it is, like, need gas money. And I always like, I'm like, what are you doing up here? Like, you're fine. Just like get a bus. I was stuck, dude. Like, I was legit stuck. Like, I was like, I'm in Indiana now, and if my car doesn't get fixed, I don't leave Indiana. Like, I was like, holy shit, I get it, dude. I get this.
That's basically Jimmy, right? Like, now Jimmy's car is just, he has to figure out what to do with it. It's like, I think it's that at that point where you're like, I hope it's under warranty, because if not, do you just go, how much do you give me for the scrap? Please just.
No, he's got he called him a bunch.
It's just like one of those things where you like the trip. Just, I don't know. The trip was like the physical embodiment of like snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. You have no idea the emotional toll. Like, it was just
3 vasectomies takes on a man. Yep. No, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
It was like that because I think that kind of bled. I don't know about you, but that definitely felt like it bled into my experience at the event overall, which was kind of rough because I mean, obviously, I didn't go to bed till like 4 a.m. I woke up like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I don't even know what time I woke up.
No.
Trying to get to the event on Saturday, and I was just tired. I was just mentally worn out before the event even started. Mm-hmm. And realistically, it had nothing to do with, poor decision making on our part. It's not like we were out partying the night before. We all just had
we went to the casino
experience. Yeah. Oh yeah. You guys. I traveled on Friday, but
we played bubble craps. Played some bubble craps. I learned how to play bubble craps, dude. Okay.
Well, then we made a return trip to the casino on Saturday night.
Yep. All right. I think I'm going to use this timestamp right here, and we can start talking about the actual weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I thought, Jason, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm going to stand by what I said in Las Vegas after the pre-release, that Oldham is the best deck in sealed. And I know most people run Briars, but I think if you play Oldham at a high level, he is the best deck, and he won again. So I think it's telling that he's a very good sealed deck. It's not just Briar's probably a little bit easier. It can output damage very well. And if you're playing Lexi, you probably have issues emotionally because I don't
know. I think if you get enough of, so this is sort of what I found is if you're playing a Lexi and they can put on enough tall attack turns, it can be hard to recover from that. Like if they get enough invigorates and like if they see like the red overflexes, stuff like that can help them go really tall like 2 or 3 times, it can be difficult, but that makes that a really high rolly deck. Like you need to see that stuff. So if you get like because I lost to a Lexi. Well, I lost to 2 Lexis, and both of them high rolled the shit out of me and had like a 14 plus damage arrow come at me at one point. And it's like if a deck is gonna do that every game, like that's pretty crazy. And I think that if you see that in your card pool, then you should then it's viable. But
but is it consistent?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is as consistent. Yeah. But if you see that in your card pool and your Briar pool is meh and your Oldham pool is meh, then like why not? Like roll those dice, baby. Because I lost to it. Not that I'm like some God's gift to playing sealed or anything like that, but like I was playing tight games. Like I had to play. Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about our decks and stuff, but
I think the thing that I've kind of, my feelings have shifted to everybody assumes Briar is best deck, but I think a lot of that is a product of Briar wins, and when you lose to Briar, it feels bad because you die to arcane damage that you can't block. But realistically, what you see a lot of times is the fact that it's that, we've kind of talked about it ad nauseum, is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, if everybody plays it, obviously it does well, it performs at a high level, and you see a lot of it. But I honestly, most of my matches were kind of mixed. I saw a little bit of everything. I played Alexi, I played a couple Hold'ems, and then the Briars that I played weren't always Briars who were just trying to vomit arcane damage. They were, a lot of them were doing a good job of playing like big attacks. They were playing like more earth focused decks and just trying to do these setup turns where they were swinging for 15 because you can't really block 15 in sealed. So you got to block with your whole hand and they get a turn back the next turn. And they were trying to do, different things as opposed to just the one specific thing that people kind of see as the thing that makes Briar frustrating. But I think what the weekend actually proved was that once the reason they said that this set is the best sealed experience is because you can play all of them reasonably in sealed, but you have to have a good pool for Oldhim and Lexi versus Briar, where Briar is just kind of my sealed pool is bad, I play Briar. That's what I do. Yeah. Like that's kind of the solution. That's the band-aid that helps you. Whereas in other sets at times, it's felt like, well, there's not a go-to deck if my pool is bad. I just kind of feel bad.
Yeah. So like I will point out something that I regret about the weekend, and it's that I didn't practice Oldhim sealed more and get more comfortable with it, because so for those who don't kind of know, the format of the weekend is Friday they had sealed events. That was like the daily double, you earn double prizing tickets and stuff for it. And so I was playing in sealed events on Friday after we got there, and I was playing Oldhim because that was my least practiced sealed deck, and I wanted to like get some more reps on them, so I was ready in case like a good Oldhim pool came up. And it actually was a little bit counterproductive because I ended up going 2-0-2 my first sealed event, and then my second sealed event, I won my first game, but it was so close to time that I switched to Lexi. I just like swerved completely and then played that out and did fine with Lexi. But I think I went 2-1 after so I went 3-1 total. But
can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
Do you think that was a product because you weren't familiar with Oldhim?
Yeah.
And so you couldn't play him as quick?
Yeah, exactly.
In sealed, I never had an issue just because I'm so guardian focused that.
No, and that's 100% what it is. Like, just like
you're just not used to
I think that I was not ready to commit to playing that play style and knowing that I was going to be disciplined enough to play it quickly enough to make up for the fact that I was going to be running into players that might be taking 45 seconds to decide what they want to block my hammer swing with. Because that's what happened was I played Alexi, who for the last 4 or 5 turns of our game, and this was my second draw in the first sealed pool. For the last like 4 or 5 turns, he was taking like a minute plus to like decide what he was going to block my hammer with. And granted, like you need to take more time there at the end of the game. Like everyone's going into the tank a little more, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, we're gonna draw. Like you have 7 cards in deck. I've got 16 or 17. You've got one. Like you've got. I think he had 2 or 3 life left, and I ended up dominating him down to 1. And I couldn't see another dominate in like the last 2 or 3 turns of the game. And the game ended me on 9, him on 1, him with 3 cards in hand, no cards in deck, and he blocked out my swing, and then just like played an invigorate to no effect, and we drew. I was like, fuck Oldhim. Like, I was like, God damn it, dude. So it came around to the calling, like the main event, and my Oldhim pool is actually really fucking good. Like I looked at it and I was like, I had 7 or 8 earth blues. I had 16 blues total. I had thumps. I had a Cracker Jacks. I had the tools that Oldhim really looks for, right? And it was good. I was like, dude, I'm not drawing in the main event. I'm not. Like I refuse to like have that be an outcome that happens, and I'm not confident enough, especially after yesterday where I drew twice out of 4 games, that I can play fast enough to make up for a round 1 draw, because like literally the guy that I played round 1 and got matched up against, he tried playing an arrow from hand without loading it. And I was like, dude, if I was playing Oldham right now, I'd for sure be drawing this game, because he was like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean you have to load it? I was like,
you saw Dylan
like,
round 1? That's crazy.
I know. So I was like, dude, like that was like vindication right off the bat that I was like good for not playing Oldham. But I went Briar because Briar is the Band-Aid, and my Briar pool was meh. I knew I could, like, she still had like the non-attack and attack action split to like do what her sword wanted to do and be able to push arcane damage. But I was like, I need to play tight and I need to come up against not god pools, and I'll be okay as long as I can get to draft. 3-0, lost in the mirror on table 1. To a tight, it was he ended up beating me by 2 life, and he swung sword for lethal arcane before I could swing sword for lethal arcane. So that was a really tight game. And then I lost my next game to Alexi that high rolled me like super hard. She like, that was actually an insane turn. Double red invigorate into a dominated arrow that was overflexed in, or no, overflexed, invigorate, and then was it an overflex from ours? I don't remember, but it was like a 16 dominated arrow, and I was like, fuck me, I guess. I don't know. And then what else happened? Then I won. So I was 5-2. No, 4-2. And then I lost my 3rd game and dropped because only X2 was making top cut. So went and played some side events and had fun. But that was my calling experience. And I regret that I was not practiced on Oldham, because I think that Oldham pool is actually really solid, and I still has regrets.
Yeah. I think so. Of all the things that happened, so my experience was pretty straightforward. I started 0-1 because I played an Oldham round 1 in an Oldham mirror, and he won the dice roll. So he played a red Glacial Footsteps turn 1 and didn't fuse it, but I blocked my whole hand. At the end of the game, neither one of us had a deck, and we were going pitch, hammer, block, pitch, hammer, block, back and forth until we ran out of cards. But because I had to block with all my cards on turn 1, he had 2 more cards than I did. So I literally lost because he went first in Glacial Footsteps me. Had he swung hammer turn 1, I could win the game, and we basically play. So it's kind of weird. And I lost a game in the middle. Just is a Briar game. It was super close. Literally same kind of thing. Lost because I drew a hand without an earth card before on the turn that he was going to swing for sword, but I had him down to like 2 cards in deck. So if I just had drawn a blue or an earth card, I could have pitched to block the arcane from the sword, made it 1 more turn, and then fatigued him. So that felt pretty bad. And then my last loss was probably one of the most insane things that's ever happened. I got to go first. Oldham, if you're Oldham, you kind of always want to go first because you can make people block with cards and immediately fatigue them. And I thought, if you see Glacial, like red Glacial, and you can fuse it turn 0, it's great. So I just swung at him. He blocked with 3 cards because I swung. I drew a Glacial. It was blue. He blocked with 3 cards, took a couple damage. I was like, oh, he must really like that last card. And then he drew his cards and had that look of surprise in his face. Like, wow, this is really good. And he played a Blossoming Spellblade. I think that's what it's called. Double fused it. Hit me with an arcane. Then dealt another arcane to me at some point. So he ended up playing a So Tomorrow from graveyard, because you get to like play one from your graveyard off of Blossoming. And he played a Bramble Spark. He played a Bramble Spark, played another one. So he pinged me again, got to play the So, had a lightning token, played out a Heaven's Claws that was 5, but he fused the Bramble, so it was an 8 with an arcane, and then swung with his sword at the end. We actually went back and did the math. I blocked with my entire hand. I took 12 damage, and he had dealt like 18 to me. Jesus. On turn 1. That was his turn 1. So he attacked me for 18 damage. I took 12. After I blocked with my whole hand, I drew up and I was at 8 after his turn 1. Nice. And I was like, Guess who's playing side events the rest of the day? This guy. So
that
that
I hadn't
bad,
heard
but
that one. I had heard about the whole like loss because the fatiguing each other against the other Oldham, but I hadn't heard that one. So that's crazy.
Last round, I just like I got done, and it was one of those ones where typically when you end up having to, drop, like frustrated, and you're just like, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. And like, he dealt 18 damage. It's sealed. There's nothing I can do. That's cool. Sounds
right.
Good.
Doesn't my deck building is not in question right now because that doesn't fucking have anything to do with it.
It was crazy. So I will say the one thing overall, the event was great. It was a well-run event. It was just like Cincinnati. Everything was run well. The pods were run well. Everything felt great. I really liked it. Yeah. The convention center was nice, except for the fact that it was in Cincinnati. It was great. The only thing I didn't like, and I'd be curious if anybody else noticed this, but they had emptied the boxes prior to distributing the deck or like the packs. So they had put they had opened cases and poured the packs into the case box from the boxes, and then we're divvying out packs from that box versus putting a sealed box onto a table with 4 people. And as a result, that's not correct. Like that, to me, that is totally wrong, because
really
the game,
bad actually.
Yeah, because the game is structured, and LSS works so hard to develop a system by which the box is the perfect sealed experience. And as soon as you just completely skew the distribution ratios of a box, you mess up what people are pulling. So, for example, we got done marking everyone's packs. We had picked our heroes and turned in our sheets. And then we were just talking casually at our table while we were deck building. And one of the guys made note of the fact that he had only opened like 12 Ranger cards or 9. He opened 9. They had 9 Ranger cards in his pool and 19 Runeblade cards.
Damn.
It's like that.
What about that dude that had the legendary shield and the Heart of Ice?
Yeah,
like, that's
guy had a legendary shield.
Really?
Yeah, he got the
How did he do?
And the Heart of Ice. He ended up going Lexi. I don't fucking know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sense.
It just to me that was totally wrong. That was not how you distribute packs if you're doing a sealed event, because you skew the box ratios, which are really, really mathematically crafted by LSS.
They're good. I've never played a sealed event and been like, why is my shit all skewed? It's always been good. Like, it's always been, I don't know.
So that one interesting thing that I want to point out, which I would never draft this way. So the top Oldham deck, looking through his list, the most interesting thing that stood out to me is he drafted 5 Strength of Sequoias.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty interesting. I mean, they're good. It's a +3 to your attack, and you get a seismic surge. But I don't know that I would draft it. So that was an interesting draft choice. And I don't know if it was the 3 block or just the plus attacks. But that stood out to me.
Yeah, I think in draft it's a little iffy too, because like in sealed you get to see, and this is just from like the practice I did do into Oldham, right? Was like in sealed you get to see whether or not Cracker Jacks is a thing, or whether or not you have those options, or whether or not you need to how many auras you need to play. I think if you're drafting Oldham versus sealed, you need to know that auras are something that you need to pick up, because Thump is such a very solid play for fairly cheap, given what it does, right? So like you need to have
Sequoia, it's only a 3 cost on that turn, because
you
fused it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So you fuse that, it's a 3 cost Thump the following
turn. It's a 9.
Gets the plus.
Now it's a 9.
Exactly.
You can block. You can block with a ton of cards.
That makes sense to me why that would be the draft play, because then it's just a blue in the Thump in hand, and you can continue to block while playing to a Thump turn that's making them discard and block and take damage. You know what I mean? So like, actually that does make a lot of sense to me. But
the rest of it all makes
different.
sense. A lot of earth cards, a few ice cards. Obviously, you're going to go stronger earth for the defense react in this format. If you're drafting rather than ice, unless you were to pull the winter whale.
Do you get in trouble? You're
otherwise,
not supposed to take a picture of your sealed pool, right? You're not supposed to do that. I didn't do that for sure. I did not take a picture of my sealed pool.
Why would it matter?
That's what I was saying. It's like, what am I gonna like share it on social media? And I actually almost did to the YouTube channel because someone was like, "Oh, you're not supposed to take a picture of that." And I was like, "Fucking why? Like, am I gonna ask for advice in the 25 minutes that they give me? Like, I don't know." Anyways, I did take a picture of it, and I was looking back through it, and I was like, I should have played Oldham. I'm really frustrated with myself. I'm not. I'm very happy with how I played, given what my Briar pool was, because like I had 2 Bramble Sparks, I had 1 Ball Lightning, I did have Mark of Lightning, which was great, and I did have the Sutcliffes, but like my pool itself, I had 1 blue, what's the +2? If you deal Arcane, +2 if you fuse it. Stir the Wildwood. I had 1 blue Stir the Wildwood, so like the big like hit thing that you like play towards. I had 1 blue. Like I did not have what you typically see in like a mediocre to good Briar pool, and I still ran it thinking that I could play it tight and still do the Arcane and stuff. And I'm actually very happy with a 4-3 result with what I did, but acknowledged that I could have done better had I been more comfortable and practiced on a different aspect of this set, which is frustrating to me, but one of those things that you learn from.
So coming up this weekend, we have the UK National Championships.
Yeah.
So I think we're going pretty long here today, but I just want to kind of get ideas of what you guys
45 minutes, dude. We're good.
Oh, okay, so we're fine. So going into UK, what you think is going to be top decks? Will you see clones of those coming to the US? I just had a little birdie tell me that they think Briar will win nationals.
Yeah, that Briar deck that Brendan was on. So in the experience of getting delayed and staying at hotels and getting an extra like 40 to 50 games in whilst waiting for my vehicle to be fixed, we put together and played that Briar deck, and it's actually really silly. Like Channel Mount Heroic is such a goddamn broken card. Like if they drop that within the first 2 to 3 turns, and you can run 3 of them, it's not like Library where it's like if they drop it I'm screwed. It's like if you drop that like the first 2 to 3 turns, you've got 3 of them, you're probably going to. Like it's such a broken. That's a Scar for 7, followed by a Ravenous Rabble for 8, followed by like it's just fucking crazy, dude. Like
it makes the numbers really big.
It makes the numbers huge and can just fucking crush you. But it is like it's like a high roll deck. It felt like, but the odds were that it was going to high roll. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So it seems super strong. Like we played into it.
The funny part, though, is the person I spoke with said that deck list isn't even close to being the best. Like that's trash compared to what. And I'm using trash aggressively because obviously it was a very good deck,
as is tradition. Yeah,
there is a much better. Yes, I mean, I'm not apologizing. It was a trash deck. That there's a much better version of that out there. That's very, very dominant right now.
Yep.
Yeah. The thing with Briar too is that it can, like I played a Briar. I played a guy in just a CC side event, and he was playing Briar, and that was my one loss in the side event was to a Briar with Bravo, literally because the turn just like spiraled. And I felt like I was blocking right. I was doing the right things. He played a red Electrify from Arsenal, draws a card. So cool, whatever. Ball Lightning, gotta block it. Ball Lightning, definitely gotta block it. Ball Lightning, still gotta block it. He had pitched a blue, and guess what he finished me off with?
Ball
CNC.
Oh.
And Ball Lightning was like 2-2-3. So obviously I wasn't going to use the Sink Below in my hand because that would be stupid to use my Sink Below on a 3 Ball Lightning. Well, had I known that Command and Conquer was coming,
You
would
would
have
probably
definitely done it
that.
because I had 4 armor
that
sitting
Command and
there.
Conquer hits you for what? It hits you for 9 and then
9.
And then another 6.
No. So the ball lightning doesn't touch the Command and Conquer because it's not. It doesn't trigger on that effect because it's not. Just the electrify.
No, right. But the ball doesn't. The ball lightning say that it.
No.
Whenever
So ball.
Attack, oh, okay. It's an
ball lightning is a
lightning.
Yeah, I think it's elemental or lightning.
Dude, I should know this. I'm so fucking brain fried. 1 second, I've got it right
here. You're good. Yeah, so ball lightning specifies like elemental or lightning attack.
Elemental action card would deal damage.
So I didn't take the one from that.
Okay, sorry. Anyways, disagreed.
So I didn't take the one from that, but I took 9. So I took the 6 from CNC because I was like, well, at this point, like where I put my armor in front of it because I didn't want to absorb the whole thing. So my armor in front of it, took the 2 from Command and Conquer, the 3 from Electrify. I lost my arsenal, and all I had left was a sink below, so I couldn't even return fire with the hammer. And I arsenaled a sink below, and I passed it back to him. And I just absorbed so much more damage.
That's gross.
It was all just because, my brain didn't register the fact. But obviously, CNC is a card. I understand that. I didn't feel like I was an idiot for not assuming it was the last card in his hand, because it's possible he drew it off the top too, because his eyes got pretty wide when he drew. And I was
like, oh shit.
Then when he played the 3rd ball lightning in a row, I thought to myself, okay, he just drew a 3rd ball lightning. Of course he was shocked that he got a 3rd one. It was going to make me block my whole turn. So the deck just spirals. Like he had one turn where he did the same thing. I think he played his was more lightning focused, but it was just able to constantly keep going and keep the pressure on and keep pinging arcane. And the earth ones, you see the earth ones, and it's like they play Mount Heroic and then have just these huge attacks. And then
channel Mount Heroic into like a CNC for 9. It's pretty fucking gross. Like
Brendan, dude. I went over and watched Brendan's game, and he had one turn where he played Sonata for free and took a blue to his hand, then played Mount Heroic. So he got his lightning token. Then he went E-Strike. E-Strike for 10.
8, probably, and drawn a card. Or no, E-Strike for 10.
Yeah, okay. E-Strike for 8, draw a card, because he wanted the second card.
Yeah.
And he drew a card and went E-Strike for 10.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
So,
and if you pitch an earth, it's like, cool, this is going to be there next turn too. So
it stuck around for a turn. So the next turn, the guy passed his turn right back, and he was like, Ravenous Rabble for revealing a red 7 with go again. It's just like, oh my god. It's just the ability of that deck to like output damage is pretty obscene at times.
Yep. The Channel Mount Heroic is a crazy card. It's a crazy card.
It doesn't even have to stick. Like that's the thing I think that people are going to miss, is that unlike Lake Frigid, where you want to keep it around because you want to have that effect stick around. If you just play Mount Heroic and then attack twice and get +6 out of it, that's it. That's good. 3 for 6 damage it's pretty good.
A 3 for 6.
I don't think it's good if it's only one turn, because you're paying 3. You're paying a blue card for it.
But it's 3 added to other cards.
You just play Nimblism.
No. But it's 2 3s. So it's
2 3s.
So it's if you play them Mount Heroic, and then you go Scar for 7 into Ravenous Rabble for 7 instead of 4 and 4. That's
so it's 2 cards for 2 cards. I mean, if you get the third attack, is where it really shines.
But the issue is like the cards that have hit effects, like Command and Conquer. If somebody gives you 2, if you attack them with an E-Strike for 8 with go again because you bottomed a card and gave it go again, and they're like, oh, that's gross, I gotta block that. They'll 2-card block it, and then you're like, cool, Command and Conquer for 9 to finish the turn. And that's when it's just disgusting, because like the hit effects are just awful.
Dude, just make that, dude, just because he runs snatches, so it's just lightning token, snatch for 7, draw a card.
Oh, let's go, play that, and then a plunder run. You can get the embodiment, and then
it's a really
you can do E-Strike
deck.
drawing a card for. You could do it for 11, drawing a card.
Yeah,
so you're not just losing a card from hand.
Yeah.
And
it's just really like has the ability to just have these turns that just blow you out.
And the fact that it has that ability while feeling like a first, second draft a version of like a tight deck, because like there's quite a bit. Like he's got some one-ups and stuff that feel like it's, just catered to his play style. Like he sides in and he talked. Yeah, go ahead, Blake.
So I was just gonna say, so to be fair, we went over after, or we watched one of the games. We were watching him play, and Adam and I just asked him, what round was that? He said, "Oh, it's the top 8," because he, just put so much pressure. And I was like, "That's crazy." And he said, he's like, I mean, honestly, like we basically have 60 cards. Like the rest of the deck I put in there to have them all, and I'm like kind of picking and choosing here and there what cards seem like they're good. But he goes, other than Prism, we didn't have a real game plan into anything. We just kind of built the best 60 of a deck. And that's pretty much what I'm playing every turn. And then I side in some stuff for Prism and I'm going from there. So deck was super early in its iterations.
Yep. And it's still, even with that, like, because we built it and we're playing it into whatever we could put together when we were staying at the hotels and stuff. And like, it's super fucking explosive and silly. So, yeah.
You know how it compared to the second place, Briar? Was it pretty similar?
I think the other guy's list was very lightning focused. So Brendan's was very earth focused, and the other list was lightning, like a lightning Briar.
I'm just gonna pull it up. I got it right here.
Yeah. The other one was lightning. I know they were different in that sense.
Nope. Almost no lightning. 0 lightning.
Not Brendan's, the other guy.
Yeah, no, the other guys had 0 lightning.
It Chris was Higashi?
What's that? I'm just looking up. It says Briar second place Pro Quest. It was big Autumn's Touch, Brambles, Channel Mounts.
That was definitely not.
That's Vigor Rush, Stir of the Wildwood, Scar for Scars, Ravenous Rabble. This is not. I already looked at Brendan's. This is a different list.
Right. It's on the Fab TCG site. The other guys has Arcanic Crackle, Arcanic Shockwave, Ball Lightning, Electrify,
Entwine
Lightning,
have them
Lightning
mixed
Press.
up then.
Yeah.
They must have
Was
them mixed
it
up.
was it
Christopher Higashi was the guy who got the other 4 with it.
Yeah. He's got the Arcanic Shockwaves, Electrifies, and Lightning Strikes.
Yep. They had the wrong list up.
Yep.
Completely different list.
Cool.
Well, maybe that was from Dallas?
This is 10, 24, 21. Christopher Higashi. Yep. Super lightning heavy.
Yeah, and then Brendan's was very earth heavy.
There was no Briar in Dallas.
That's right. One of these podcasts, Jason, you're not going to get shit on for being wrong. It's all good.
Being what?
For being wrong.
Oh, I'm just pulling up what it says second place Briar Pro Quest.
Don't go on the
computers are hard, man. It's okay, dude. Just
don't go to the DB. Go to LSS's website.
Yeah, go to LSS website. If you go to events and then deck lists, it'll show you like they have the deck lists, which historically have been inaccurate. So
they've been just as inaccurate as anything else.
Typically, they're a couple cards off. They're not 60 cards off.
Yeah.
So when I saw 3 colors of Lightning Press, I was pretty confident that I was looking at the right list.
That was such a shit laugh. Like fucking God damn it.
Yeah.
So is that what you think that list will do something then in the upcoming nationals?
I think it's definitely got like I don't know too, man. Like I go back, like that list felt a lot more consistent, but it felt really consistent because it didn't rely on like a lot of the fuse cards. Like it was just running. It was a good card deck with like Earth buffing it. Like it was Scar for Scars, Ravenous Rabbles, Plunder Runs Red. Like it was these cards that like Enlightened Strike, Command and Conquers. It was just that with fucking Channel Mount Heroics and Earthlore Surges that buffed their shit. So I don't know. I think there's lots of deck building to be done for sure.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it's interesting because every game seems to have decks that are good card deck. Like that's the way we've always kind of referred to them in other games. Like Dragon Ball had that issue sometimes where they had to do more tying of cards to archetypes. to make sure they stuck with the archetypes, and the archetypes couldn't shove in too many generics, because it does feel like in some ways, like now that Seeds is gone from Chain and you've got Briar, because it doesn't specify with Briar, I think one of the things we might end up running into is because it doesn't specify, like Viscerai feels very
or anything,
or even a Rune Blade card, Elemental card, because her thing just says if you play 2 non-attacks.
Yep. I think Briar is going to be one of the recurring heroes going forward, which is kind of cool because like Bolton sort of relies on light. Dorinthia doesn't. But Briar is one of those heroes that like from the beginning, like when Duskblade was a thing, the first list I built with her was all fucking no elemental cards. Like I didn't use anything from Tales of Aria. It was like Plunder Runs and Scar for Scars and like all this stuff that was just go agains and non-attack actions because she's gonna buff, because like Duskblade was broken, admittedly, but like she's the only character that's not tied to cards from this set. Like really it's tight, just it's just non-attack actions. 2 of them played, electrify. Attack act. Oh my god, fuck. Whiskey Ginger coming up. Attack actions hit. Embodiment of Earth. You got it, baby. Yeah. Doesn't give a shit what it is. Don't have to fuse. Don't get any benefits from playing the fusion cards. Like it's just vanilla. I think she's going to continue to come up in the future, which is cool. I like that they do that with every heroes every once in a while.
She definitely has the potential to be good card.deck in Fab, which is really interesting because when you look at like Viscerai, he has this thing where he requires the next card to be Rune Blade after a non-attack. But if Viscerai just said, if you've played a non-attack action this turn, when you play a card, make a rune chant.
That'd be so fucking crazy.
It would be crazy because all of a sudden you could just go find the best cards. You could play things like Scar and build a much more aggressive version of him. But because you have to play Runeblade cards, then you're kind of stuck in this world where you have to play things like really expensive rune flashes or 1-cost meet and greets and hope that you can push some arcane through to get go-agains. And Chain has kind of shifted more to a Runeblade meets good card.deck, because if you look at what he's trying to accomplish now with CNCs or E-strikes, or people are playing the Tremor and all these cards, a lot of them it's just looking at it's classic, it's deck building 101. People who are purists and go, man, I just want these really cool thematic decks, are gonna hate these decks. But if you're just trying to build a good deck, Flock of the Featherwalkers and Command and Conquer are pretty decent cards in Chain because they're just good cards, not because they're good Runeblade cards. So
I'm so excited to see how Pat's deck does in Nationals, because like that deck is fucking better than Chain decks before we got the nerf. Like before
we were talking,
like
we were talking about it at locals tonight, and that I think Chain personally is better now than he was with Seeds, because he plays a more aggressive game plan and he's trying to push a lot harder earlier, which is actually more problematic for more types of decks.
For a lot of decks, like decks need to, like, what if you go into Chain thinking that you've got your strategy figured out, what you're gonna do, you're gonna push damage early, like blah blah blah. It's like that's not what Chain does anymore. And it's fucking terrifying how much damage they can push out throwing those little fucking I'm not gonna say anything because
don't spill the
I'm
beans
not,
at all.
because that's not mine that's not ours to give away. Like we aren't like secretive about it, but like Pat put a lot of like blood, sweat, and tears into that deck. I don't know. That, or he's super smart and didn't really think twice about it and just put it together. But it's fucking genius and it's crazy. Yeah. But dude, playing into it, like it's harder to play into that deck knowing what it does, even like the fact that you understand what it's doing and what it's trying to do, and it is still a struggle to answer it. It's like, dude, this feels like fucking worse than before, because before at least I could like have an answer for it and know like what I was trying to do against it. And it's like, I sit down and talk to him and he's like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like good old Channel Lake Frigid.
Yeah, dude, like Ice, I'm telling you, dude, if Pat's deck gets big, no arrow, no bow, Ice Lexi is gonna be the fucking deck, dude.
Why wouldn't you just do Ice Oldham? It's got better effect, and you can use almost all this, do almost the same thing.
Ian would rather kill himself than play Oldham.
Yeah, dude, I would shoot myself in the face first. I'd take another trip to Cincinnati. I'd take another trip to Cincinnati before I played Oldham. That's what I'd do. Yep.
Oldham's actually fun to play. There's a lot of hand fixing and things you can do and messing around. I enjoy them.
I'm going to be honest. I'd rather kill myself than play into Oldham because I will. Here's the thing, right?
I don't like our games go fast, even when it's too.
Yeah. Our games go fast, but that's because unlike everybody else who builds Oldham, your Oldham actually tries to kill me rather than get me to kill myself physically in human form.
Oh, so Jason plays a bad Oldham. Gotcha. Cool.
No, I play a different one that does just as good as those with a different strategy.
Jason
typically speaking, this is just based on a history of Jason trying to play like aggro Guardian and no,
not aggro.
I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean by an Oldham that tries to kill you then, if not aggro?
So this Oldham actually has punch. The issue if you play most Oldhams is they're so focused on playing defensively that they never actually really hit you. They basically just make you want to take damage. So you're like, you know what? I don't even care. I don't want to go to time. I'm not interested in time. I'd rather lose than go to time. So you know what? I'm going to take this 4 and then I'm going to hit you back. And you're probably going to defend it all. But you're probably going to take 2 or 3. We're going to stay at the same life total the whole game. And then we're going to go to time. And you know what the worst part is? You're probably going to have less cards in deck than I am because you're just awful and you're.
So I play mine defensively until I get 2 or 3 cards that I'm looking for with my pummel, and then I just start unleashing hell and get the person on the back foot, because regardless if they want to block or not, I'm going to take cards from their hands on those attacks, and that's how I get ahead. Then it doesn't matter, like a lot of decks you just don't block and then you attack them back. Well, if you don't block, you're just going to lose cards anyway. So that's kind of how I try to set them up, where either I'm going to frostbite you to death because I added cards in to get multiple frostbites, because as we learned, 1 frostbite is an annoyance, 2 really sucks, 3 and you might as well just arsenal and pass.
So you want to know what I did? I'm a total pile of shit. I built I've had like this obsession with no bow Lexi, right? Because I love her effect, but I just hate arrows. The concept of Ranger sucks dick. But
I mean, it can be done.
So what I did was I made a deck that gained 27 life over the course of a game and won off of just like fucking 5 attacks. I just ran Moonwish and Sunkiss and was just like flipping up Electrifies out of Arsenal. It's just a lightning deck. It was just Electrify from Arsenal, play it, and then draw a card, and then Moonwish, bottoming this, drawing, or for 5 for free with Go Again. Okay, Go Again. I'm going to play my 2 Sunkisses from hand, drawing a card each time. And then I'll Moonwish. And then I'll, it was just a fucking ton of life gain. It was super fun, but didn't really kill people. But it was really entertaining. And I think that
it did nothing.
It did nothing except for gain life and piss people off. They'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll let this Moonwish hit. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to go find my 3rd Sunkiss, because that's going to be +3 draw a card, +2 draw a card because I had a yellow in hand, and then +3 draw a card, and then I'm going to fucking attack you for a scar. And it didn't do terrible.
Moonwish thing, aren't you?
What's that?
You're a little hung up on that whole Moonwish Sunkiss.
It was fun, dude. Not gonna lie. Like
almost
lightning.
An obsession, a waifu-like obsession with that combo.
It's just so cool to me. I don't know why. It's like one of those swept under the rugs, like card pairings, card sets, whatever you want to call them, from like early sets that like never gets played, isn't that great, but it's like there is a hero. Yeah, there's like a hero that can like really capitalize on it, because what's the issue with Moonwish is that you can't give it Go Again to play the Sunkiss. What's Lexi do? Give fucking whatever she wants Go Again. It's like, dope, let's do that. And I just ran a shit ton of them and it was bad. But I think that there is something to the Lexi ability, because I think her ability is really strong. And even running Talishar isn't that terrible of like a hindrance because you're not using it very often. But when you need to, like you can just like Ice Quake Talishar for 7 if it hits Frostbite after giving him a Frostbite from flipping up the Ice Quake. So it's like 2 Frostbites and you're coming in for 7 on like a 2-card, on a 1-card hand because you blocked for 3. Like it's just, there's a lot of flexibility and I've been having fun with her. So that's been what I've been dicking around with for my pet deck. But Prism, like I've been having a blast with Prism and feel super good about her. And that's probably what I'm running at Nationals.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll be going to Nationals. We'll see what happens here.
Chelsea's not anymore. This trip broke her entirely. So she's not going to Orlando with me anymore. She's sending me on my way and saying, if you come home, you come home. So
I don't even know at this point, I don't even know what deck I'd bring.
There's a plane ticket just waiting for you.
I know there is. I mean, Bravo, Oldham, Lexi, they all
ring to me. You know, we've got a 2-bed hotel room. Just, you know, we can go and we can.
Yeah, I mean,
I got a place to stay. You got everything for you.
We'll know more later today.
Just gotta say yes.
We'll know more later today.
Just say yes.
We'll know a little more later today. I gotta look at some things on the work computer. Pull up and rearrange some vacation stuff and see what we can make happen. Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I think
I have to look to see if I registered for Nationals. I don't remember if I clicked the link or not. So I'll have to find that out too.
You got time. Yeah. You're good.
Anyway, I don't have much else to cover for this week. I'm excited for next week. Well, that is next week. It's next weekend, isn't it?
It is. Mm-hmm. It is not this weekend. This weekend is Halloween.
But I mean, there's a lot. Oh. Do you ever, like, I'm not going to ask you, Dane. I'm going to ask the listeners because I already know your answer. But do you ever feel like really overwhelmed suddenly? Just like with everything that's happening?
Just like you're a plastic bag drifting
through the wind.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like I'm drifting through the wind. I just feel like that I'm the plastic bag that fell into the lake, now filled up with water, and I'm sinking to the bottom.
And now you're here?
And now I'm here. Somehow trying to get back to the top. Some fishermen hooked me, thought it was a big fish. I wasn't. I was just a plastic bag. Now I'm sitting in the boat. Maybe now I'll blow away into the wind and drift through the wind. That could be what happens. I don't know. But there's a lot going on. The UK Nationals, I mean, I'm going to want to see what happens there. Is there even, I'm going to offend the whole country right now. Is there any good players in UK? I mean, that's a serious question. I don't know. Is there? Is there anybody good that plays over there?
Big Medsai is like probably the most well-known. That's the player that I know that's the most well-known.
Yeah.
All right. So in the comments, Jason, thank you for offending a whole nation. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Whoops.
Doesn't our existence kind of
Europe's
a continent.
I mean,
it's not a continent. It's not a country.
I mean, we beat them once in a war. We can beat them in a game of cards. All right. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you remember that war where we beat all of Europe? Jesus Christ, I'm fucking drunk, and I know like war we beat Europe's ass. It's like what happened? Tell me more, Jason.
There's a pretty great comment today in the Dragon Ball Super group, which I haven't left only because I still sell Dragon Ball. I still have cards left to sell. Which, by the way, I'm officially retired. I'm retired from Dragon Ball Super.
Flesh and Blood is the game that has been our
game
commitment.
for me.
And like my hero for like shits and gigs, but like just because I like the anime. But Flesh and Blood is the sole focus.
So they had a comment, and it made me think of this, where somebody said something to somebody who clearly had like written something in their language and then translated it. So they like, and you know, sometimes Google Translate or Facebook Translate, whatever, it doesn't totally.
Oh, it's always perfect. It's always perfect.
So this guy commented on it and made a negative comment about it, how it was dumb or this thing didn't make sense. And somebody else said, well, I can speak the language he's speaking. So this is what he was trying to say by that. And the guy responded simply, sorry, me no speak non-freedom language.
I mean,
it's just the thing, like Jason's comment about like Europe as a country
I said UK. I never said Europe. I said
he
UK.
did say I think that looking back, he did say UK.
I said UK. I didn't say Europe.
Which, if that's the case, our very
if we're gonna throw that out,
them.
pretty good players in Europe. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, I will say that I forgot what I was going to say.
This is definitely the part of the podcast.
You will say that you know nothing.
I had
this is the end of a Cincinnati trip right here.
This is just I'm just surviving through the week.
Survive.
That's really what I'm Robert Downey Jr. in it for sure.
What time does that flight leave on Thursday, by the way? I mean, might as well just let everybody know.
Yeah, no, I'll be flying. I think it leaves at like 7 or 8 p.m. Gets in at like
PM. I thought you were saying AM. I'm like,
when does it come home? Does it come home Sunday night?
It comes home Sunday night at 6. I think we fly out at like 6 or 7. Well, but it's back in time. We travel back in time. Fucking Pitbull. Like, we're back, and it's gonna be. I think we land at 10:30.
Yeah, because we're coming back the correct way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out today at work because we're recording this live right now. And
Friday morning.
Yep.
Friday morning. We
you missed it.
I'm going on my work computer and I'll find out.
If you're joining us, you missed the live podcast by like 20 minutes. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that'd be a train wreck.
Dude, we should do it sometime. We should. So I've been watching a shit ton of Hot Ones.
A long time ago, and
I've been watching a fuck ton of Hot Ones, dude. And like, I would love to actually order like the set of 10 hot sauces and do like a Hot Ones special.
I mean, if you want to do that, I'll watch. I ain't doing that shit.
You're not doing it?
No way in hell.
Yeah, it's just a little bitch. No,
right.
That's fine.
I'll do it with you.
Burns going down, Burns coming out. I want nothing to do with that.
Oh, pain. Oh, fuck off. Dude.
Ow, my tender. You know what? Don't get me started about how coddled the modern anus is.
About how coddled the modern. Is that what you? All right,
dude.
Is that what you just said? Did you just say
it's Dwight from The Office? He references it when he's de-plying. He's turning 2-ply toilet paper into 1-ply, and they're like, reply the paper. He's like, says, "Don't get me started on how coddled the modern anus is."
Okay,
it's a direct quote from The Office.
I didn't know that was an Office quote. I admittedly
direct quote.
I could only watch like 1 or 2 episodes at a time. I do think I got through like season like 4 or 5. But
are you one of the people who gets uncomfortable with this like uncomfortable situations?
Yeah, secondhand embarrassment. Actually, I get really like, it's really bad. Yeah, I can't like I'll watch it and I'll be like,
not me.
I can't watch it anymore.
I'm the opposite.
The one show that I don't get it for that I've heard other people do get it for is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I love that show with a passion, and I don't get secondhand embarrassment from that show for some reason.
That's not the same awkwardness that Office did so genuinely well.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
That's totally fair.
I love
the whole Toby Michael Scott thing. I mean,
that's great. I don't get embarrassed from Toby. That's fine.
There's just the awkward situations.
Yeah.
Like when he's at the Kelly's thing and he asks what's her name to marry him. It's just mad awkward. Yeah. See, that stuff doesn't bother me at all. It makes my wife uncomfortable, but I thrive off of that. I love it.
It doesn't make me like uncomfortable or I'm like, oh no, like what's he gonna do? Like it's just like the whole that's so close to something I might say that I'm not comfortable in my own skin. If you're seeing yourself as
Michael Scott,
yeah, for sure. Like I watch Michael Scott and I'm like, I am like half a stone's throw away from like being that person. So I'm going to it's almost one of those like you get nervous. You're like, oh my God, I'm so close to that being me.
Yeah, I actually worked with him in real life. My manager,
Steve
13 years ago.
That's crazy, dude. What show?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's crazy. I do have before we cut this thing off with our rambling, I do have exciting news, and maybe if I can get everybody who's listening to send an email to speed up this.
Dude, I knew Beth was pregnant. Dude, that's awesome.
No.
How is Mason excited? No, brother.
No. I have put in my pre-order for Starlink, but it's saying early to mid 2022. That is unacceptable. We need to speed that timeline up and get these satellites into orbit. So if everybody can just go ahead and email, call, text
whoever's
Elon,
in charge
like,
of
hey,
whoever runs the orbit.
let's get on
make
this.
sure you whoever runs orbit, make sure that you email
orbit in the sky, floating around the Earth.
Yeah, dude, you need better internet. It hasn't been an issue since you turned your video off. For those who don't know or haven't realized.
Yeah, that's because I'm hotspotting.
Yeah, like Jason's had a picture that he sent me up over his video. He hasn't been drinking this entire time. I have.
No, I have been, and
I mean, he's been drinking, but
I have. Like I want to be one of those Las Vegas performers where you stand still and do ventriloquist at the same time, or would it be ventriloquy? What would be the
ventriloquism?
Yeah, it's like
ventriloquism.
It's a normal word.
That's how you would say that. That just doesn't sound
ventriloquism.
That's how you say it. Yeah, so that's like the profession or the act
of doing.
Well, like the profession I could see, but doing the act.
Ventriloquisting. What would you?
I think it should be like ventriloquy. It sounds better.
That's multiple.
I'm actually just going to go ahead.
It's actually pronounced ventriloquy. Is multiple.
Why I would pronounce it qui.
Ventriloquist.
Dude,
you are a ventriloquist.
I'm not cutting any of this
but I am going to go out and perform ventriloquy.
We're gonna have an hour and a half goddamn fucking podcast.
That's all I got.
Put discussion about Starlink and ventriloquism as like another bookmark.
Oh yes,
I'm gonna spell it VENTRIQ.
UIS.
Oh, right when it starts, Dane. And this is like everybody gets to see this or hear about this now on the podcast as we talk about the back room things. Just put all the links. Start of Starlink, little ventriloquism or ventriloquy, as I like to say.
There's just like 40 timestamps in the comments.
Yeah,
actually, you know what? I never linked that Black Swan
Michael
book.
Scott.
Did you link the Black Swan book, Blake, when you put up the description? Yeah.
No.
Fuck. I'm gonna because that's a really goddamn good book, and you should read it if you at all take like business or modern philosophy. Like
what book?
Seriously, Black Swan. It was from last episode.
Oh,
it's good. Yeah. It's by, dude. I think it's Talib Nassim, but I'm gonna fucking get that wrong.
I've not listened to the last episode yet. I've not caught up.
You were there, dude.
No, I wasn't.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't here last week.
Oh no,
I wasn't here last week.
It was 2 episodes ago then, because you were there. Because you guys both gave me shit for the Natalie Portman film.
Oh, I just remember Natalie Portman. Okay, I'll be honest with you. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Lady Thor.
Yeah.
Nassim Talib. That's what it was. As I just got him in verse. Yeah. So Nassim Nicholas Talib, Black Swan, super fucking good book. It's when we were talking about Rudy, talking about like how he was talking about Black Swan moments and how, dude, this weekend, bunch of fucking just a Black Swan moment in my life is what this weekend was. Yeah, read the goddamn book.
Black Swan theory, or theory of Black Swan events.
No, it's the impact of highly improbable. So it's called the Black Swan.
Disproportionate role of high-profile, hard-to-predict, and rare events that are beyond the realm of normal expectations in history, science, finance, and technology. That's just off the top of my head.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
The Black Swan, the impact of the highly improbable by Nassim Nicholas Talib. It was really fucking good. It was a great read. Super, super intellectual though. Like you got to be really smart like me in order to understand it. So,
wow. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and skip that then.
Does it have pictures?
Dane's the person at the Dennis Miller live that laughs at everything, and then when somebody asks, "I don't get it," he's like, you just wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand. I can't explain this to you. You just wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't get it. Oh god damn it, dude! I'm just fucking failing here.
This is above your pay grade, okay?
It. Dude, this is what the book looks like. It's really fucking good.
I see nothing.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not cutting any of this too. Like this is gonna be the first like truly uncut episode because it's not even midnight yet, but I'm just done for the week. Like I'm just gonna there's nothing that we said. There's nothing I need to cut out. There's nothing crazy. Like I don't need to edit swear words out anymore. Fuck it. Like you guys are getting an hour and a half episode.
If we're talking books, I did start watching the movie Dune before my internet cut out and it was getting
Chelsea and I started. Dude, it's so good.
It's really good. I'm 2 hours. I have 55 minutes remaining, so I'm like at a really good point of the movie, and it pissed. But I will say, did they just go like, who's played in a superhero movie? They're on this film. Like everybody on there. It's like you got Thanos / Cable. You got what's her name from Spider-Man, Drax.
Wait, who's the Spider-Man one? Who's the Spider-Man one?
Zendaya.
Oh yeah, Zendaya is from Spider-Man.
I just don't know. I can't remember her name in Spider-Man.
It's Mary Jane.
MJ.
Just like one of like the main Spider-Man characters. It's fine. She plays Mary Jane, dude.
Oh, I forget because I'm just
MJ,
scarred that
she plays MJ. That's true.
Yeah, but
okay, that's
but they don't call. Yeah, they don't call her
because Kirsten Dunst did that role so horribly. It's kind of scarred me that I don't like to even think that name.
Yeah, dude, you just gotta Gwen Stefani, dude, or fucking Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stefani.
Gwen Stefani. I totally forgot that. I totally forgot that Dune was on HBO Max.
It is. It's so good. So
I was like, oh man, I'm not going to see this forever because I got to wait for it to come out on some platform. It's on HBO Max.
I know
HBO Max is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I love fantasy and I love science fiction. So it's actually crazy. I played Warhammer 40K pretty religiously when I was down in Kansas, stationed there, and it's crazy how much like the Warhammer universe or 40K universe drew from Dune, and even Star Wars too, like drew from Dune. Like, because Dune, I think, was 1963 or 65 was when it was written, which is like almost as old as Lord of the Rings, which was 54. Like, that's like the progenitor of like sci-fi, which is nuts, and it's so good. Like, it's so well written. Like, I think that we got to the point where Duncan introduces the Fremen like leader to Duke Leto or Leto.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, that's where we are.
So it's gonna really spiral. I will say that this movie is. I'm definitely gonna buy Dune Imperium, the board game, which is a worker placement / deck building game, because it uses these characters pretty well in it, and when you pick the houses and how you establish things, and just I love the sand and the spice, and that's part of one of your resources, spice and water, because if you watched the movie or read the book, it's such a both valuable resources. So I can't wait to get the game. I will get the game. We will play it. Probably even record that.
I love deck builders. Like, Blake, do you remember when we would play, like, do you remember when I borrowed your DC deck building game?
Yeah.
Dude, that game is like one of my favorite games outside of, honestly, probably Flesh and Blood. It's like my favorite game period to play. It's so fucking good. And
Versus?
This is
the DC deck builder.
I like it better. I like it better than the Marvel, whatever the Marvel
Legendary
is. Legendary. Yeah. I like it better than Legendary.
Me and
like
Beth play Legendary.
This DC deck builder is such like a succinct, like contained good game that has like, it has expansions and stuff you can add to it. Like there was like a villain expansion and stuff that I bought that I played on top of the deck builder that I borrowed from Blake. Dude, it's so fucking fun. Like you just like buy your cards and like you compete, and then at the end of the game you just tally up what your deck contained, and like you could fucking mill, you could do all kinds of stuff. It was a blast, dude. It was really tightly made.
It's a good game.
I want to play that again.
I've got it.
Yeah,
I want to
put that on the list.
When we're doing like our videos, if you haven't checked out Yotes Gaming, that's where we're going to be doing like a bunch of board gaming and card gaming, not fab related.
Yeah.
Over this winter.
No.
Like we're going to be doing a ton
of that. A lot of board games.
Jason's channel there.
Yeah. Especially once we get done. I think that's the thing too, is I was talking to my wife about this, about how it's like getting to the stage post calling.
Yep.
Is kind of an interesting thing because we hit it feels much more casual because it's like we hit skirmish season. It's more for fun. You get to really enjoy like the experience. Just, go play draft. You could play blitz if you really want to, but like overall, getting past the calling. Calling is like the culmination of everything everyone's been working on all year, and people have been grinding so hard and just pushing so hard to get prepped and ready. And now we're gonna get on the other side of Orlando and actually have some time to do some fun stuff, which is cool. Not that Fab isn't fun, but sometimes that competitive grind can get a little wearing and tearing on your
I already asked Bates. I'm like, Bates, are we doing some Crisis Protocol this winter? Because I'm ready to play some games. I'm pumped to play that. I love board games. I am excited post calling season to still play Fab, but back to what we did before, where we bring a different deck every week to locals.
Yeah.
And then get together and play some fun board games, because there's a ton out that are good, and it still does a lot of makes your mind do things it doesn't want to do and try to see turns ahead. And I don't know, it's just a ton of fun, and we can drink beer while we do it. So why not?
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. I'm super excited. All right, dude, we're in an hour and a half. The
only thing you have to edit though is you got to put the links in for all these different discussions. There's going to be like 20.
I'm not doing any of that shit. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna go through it and just gonna link like fucking random. I'm gonna link our OnlyFans. No, I won't do that either. Don't look in our comment section or like our description for links, unless it's the Fab TCG website. We're so bad at that. We apologize. Like, you just have to Google food if you want it.
Oh well.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna
Everybody's fine. They'll all be okay.
We will all survive. The best part is like looking at the statistics. Like, no one's fucking listening at this point. If you are, thank you. Like, we love you. We love the fact that people like truly get enjoyment out of this. But man, the majority of you are like 10 minutes. Like, nah, fuck these guys. Like that was a bad intro. Lots of times it's like, oh, this is a bad intro. We're not going to listen anymore because Jason sucks at intros. But I'm just kidding, dude. Jason, I love your intros. I'm just fucking tipsy. It's all good. All right. That's all we got. There's nothing else. I really enjoyed you guys joining us. Really excited that it's Friday and that we've got a weekend coming up where we're going to get to evaluate some UK/Europe up for debate results, and that we're going to go into next week. We've got Florida. We got our Nats, man. And it's going to be intense. It's going to be fun. So really would appreciate your feedback on what you think is going to be good. Let us know in the comments like what you've been playing, what you think might be coming out of Nationals, because that is going to be even more so than a ProQuest, a good testament to what CC looks like, man, like in this meta, because we're going to see like people bringing the heat, which I think has maybe been, I've gotten the vibe that it's been tempered a little bit in the ProQuests. People have been like, oh, this deck's great, but we're going to keep testing it and saving it for Nats. So Nats being a CC event, I think is going to be super, super fun to see what it looks like. But yeah, look forward to having conversations in our Discord. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification because we got gameplay coming out. We've got, I don't know, lots of stuff. That's all I got. Any last thoughts?
Nothing.
All right, guys.
Time to go to bed.
See you later.